Hi, fourth graders. Today we're going to talk about a little bit about Patriot Day and why we celebrate on September 11th. Today we're really going to look at the heroes and the helpers of that day and what took place September 11th, 2001. We're also going to talk about ways that you can be a helper here in Olathe and at Black Buck. So I want you to start by turning and talking to your neighbor or someone near you, or you can even jot down a few notes and think about what you know or what you have heard about the events that took place September 11th, 2001. I'm going to go ahead and start a 2-minute timer, and I just want you to take some time and jot those thoughts down. Okay, friends, take about 30 more seconds, share with your neighbor, or get those last few thoughts written down. All right, friends. So now we're going to watch this quick video, and it's just going to review for us the events that took place on September 11th, 2001. There is some video and some pictures just to help us remember what happened that day.
The skyline of New York City, dominated by the World Trade Center. Tourists took the elevator up 115 floors to marvel at the rooftop views. It was the workplace of some 20,000 people. Then came September the 11th. An aircraft flew out of the sky at full speed and crashed into the South Tower. When the second plane hit, there was no question. This was terrorism on a scale the world had never seen before. Inside those towers that Tuesday morning, thousands had just arrived for work. The infernos caused by aviation fuel explosions were weakening the steel frames of the building. The North Tower collapsed horrifically to the ground, taking hundreds of helpless people with it. The dust cloud that followed swallowed up lower Manhattan. A scene from the apocalypse.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Right here, right here. Stay right here. Let's go. Here it comes. Move it now. Let's go. Come on in. Come on in. Here. Thank you.
Within 20 minutes, the South Tower also crumbled to the ground. Among those who died, more than 200 were firefighters. In Washington, another passenger plane had been flown into the Pentagon. More than 100 people lost their lives there. A fourth plane would come down in Pennsylvania after the passengers apparently had fought with the hijackers.
These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong.
So while we know the events of September 11th were tragic and very sad, what also came out of that were people who were willing to come and help and serve the people around them. And so we're going to listen to this story called Fireboat, and it's called The Heroic Adventures of the John J. Harvey. And I want you to think about, as we're listening to this story, what the people did and how they were helping in this tragic event.
Heroic Adventures of the John J. Harvey, written by Myra Coleman. New York City, 1931. Amazing things were happening, big and small. The Empire State Building went up, up, up. Babe Ruth hit his 611th home run in Yankee Stadium. The tasty candy treat Snickers hit the stores. The George Washington Bridge was suspended elegantly across the mighty Hudson River. Champion Pentley Calling of Blarney won Best in Show at the Westminster Kennel Club. On a hot and jazzy night, the word hacho was invented. And on a sunny, fresh day, the John J. Harvey fireboat was launched. There were 12 fireboats in New York City. The Harvey was the largest, fastest, and shiniest fireboat of them all. It had 5 diesel engines, so it could go 20 miles per hour. That's pretty fast. A completely round steering wheel. 8 pipes that could shoot 16,000 gallons of water per minute, equal to 20 fire trucks. Many brass nozzles housed in the gold room. A control dial in the pilot's cabin. A very nice can to oil all squeaks. Ropes, called lines, and lots of levers, buttons, and buckets. There was a pilot and a crew ready in 2 minutes to fight the fires. They were a brave group, and there was a dog named Smokey, who did not put out the fires but had many nice spots. The Harvey went up and down the river fighting fires. It fought fires at the bustling piers. The piers were the places where ships and trains brought all manner of merchandise to be sold in the city, like wood and cotton and bananas and bubblegum and everything. It fought the fire of the great ocean liner Normandy. Sometimes the Harvey just went out to shoot water in celebration. Many years passed. A new captain had come on board, Bob Lenny. He and his crew fought many fires, but New York was changing. The Twin Towers were now the tallest buildings in New York City. The piers were closing. 1995. The city no longer needed so many fireboats. The Harvey was considered old and useless. It sat in the water for 5 years, waiting to be sold for scrap. And then a very surprising thing happened. A group of friends were eating at a restaurant called Florent. They had heard about the fireboat and decided something. Let's save the Harvey. Let's buy her. Everyone needs a fireboat. We won't put out fires. We'll just have fun. And they did. They took it to Cadell's ship repair yard in Staten Island. Even there they said, "She is old. It will be hard to fix her." But the owner said, "Fix." So they fixed beautifully. They repaired the 2 propellers, making them new with a shiny coat of brass. Brass does not rust. They repaired the holes with steel plates and covered the places where the rivets wept. They scraped barnacles and seaweed off the hull and painted her with a shiny coat of red paint. And once again, the Harvey was on the water. Tim the engineer keeping things running smoothly. Huntley at the wheel. Jessica the assistant engineer at the controls in the noisy engine room. Andrew welding, Chase helping, John fixing, Tom cooking, and Bob Lenny watching over everyone and being very proud. They made friends with the only other fireboats on the river, the Firefighter and the McKean. Everyone said the Harvey is a nice old boat, but she could never be used to fight a fire. Never. A boat says hello with 4 toots. Toot, 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 toot. But then, on September 11th, 2001, something so huge and horrible happened that the whole world shook. It was 8:45 in the morning, another beautiful and sunny day. 2 airplanes crashed into the Twin Towers. Crashed, crashed, crashed into these 2 strong buildings. The sky filled with fire and smoke. The buildings exploded and fell down to the ground. Many people were hurt. Many lives were lost. The news spread. The city had been attacked. Everyone was terrified, but people were brave. The entire city sprang into action. Firefighters and police officers and doctors and construction workers and teachers and cooks and children and parents. The mayor was strong. He said, "We will all work together. We will not be broken." What were the people of the Harvey doing when the planes hit? Bob Lenny was trimming hedges. Tom was drinking tea in his kitchen. Chase was walking his dog Radar. Tim was reading the paper. Andrew was welding. Jessica was writing a story. Huntley was reading David Copperfield. John was working. The Harvey was snoozing at the pier. They all had one thought: get to the Harvey, and they did. They called the fire department. "John J. Harvey ready to help. How can we help?" The answer came, "You can't help fight the fire, but you can ferry people to safety." But suddenly an urgent message came loud and clear. "John J. Harvey, where are you? We need you, we need you." The water pipes were broken and buried, and the fire trucks that had raced to the scene could not pump water. The firefighters attached hoses to the Harvey. The Harvey fought the fires alongside the McKean and the Firefighter. For 4 days and nights, the Harvey pumped water. The crew took turns sleeping. People brought supplies: fuel, sweaters, gloves, pizza, sandwiches, and coffee. They worked and cried. They fought the fire until it was under control. Finally, it was time for the Harvey to go home. Everyone on the boat had never seen anything so terrible, and they had never felt so proud. The Harvey was a hero, and everyone knew it. The Harvey won an important award. At the ceremony, the audience cheered, and some even cried. Now the Twin Towers are gone. Something new will be built. The heroes who died will be remembered forever. The Harvey is back to being a very happy boat. Not scrapped, not useless, not forgotten. A proud and plucky friend. And all that's left to say is hacha and thank you. Wait a minute. There is something more to say. The friends of the Harvey have found a little tugboat to adopt. Doesn't everyone need a tugboat?
So after listening to our story about the John J. Harvey, hopefully you were able to see that anyone can be a helper. Anyone can come in times of need, whether they were firefighters or police officers, doctors or nurses, or even just the volunteers on the John J. Harvey were willing to step up and come help when they needed it. So I want you to think about how you can help. Here at Black Bob or at home or wherever you are in your community, there is always something we can do to help those around us. So I want you to be thinking, and you're going to head over to your class Flipgrid, and you can see the code by your teacher's name. You're going to find the topic, Heroes of September 11th. And you're going to respond in 1 to 2 minutes and tell us about what you will do this week to help the people around you in need. And as we remember and think about September 11th, we're honoring those people who became helpers by being helpers ourselves and serving the people around us.